You ever notice how the world is full of rules? Rules for eating, rules for parking, rules for breathing. Probably a rule somewhere that says you can't fart in an elevator on Tuesdays. And the best part, these rules aren't written by geniuses. Oh no, they're written by the same idiots who can't figure out how to work a coffee machine without burning the office down. Think about it. Every time you see a sign that says, "Do not touch," you know somebody touched it. Some guy licked it, probably, and that's why the sign exists. Rules are nothing but suggestions left behind by people who failed at life and decided to ruin it for the rest of us. Seatbelt rules. Fine, I'll wear it. But don't pretend you're saving my life. You're saving your insurance company money. Helmet laws, same deal. If I want to crack my skull open like an egg on a frying pan, that's my right as a citizen. Land of the free, baby, except not too free, because here comes Officer Friendly with a ticket for freedom abuse. And don't even get me started on the workplace rules. No food at your desk, no headphones, no naps. What is this, prison? At least in prison you get free meals and a nap every day. The corporate handbook is just a manual written by some HR robot who wanted to feel like Napoleon. So yeah, rules. They're just dumb little suggestions cooked up by idiots with clipboards. And most of the time, the only real rule you need in life is this: don't be an asshole. But apparently, that's too complicated for society. So instead, we've got a 400-page booklet telling us how to microwave popcorn without getting sued. You ever notice how every rule you've ever seen is just the aftermath of some idiot who couldn't handle basic common sense? That's what rules really are, monuments to stupidity. They're not wisdom. They're not guidance. They're not divine commandments. They're graffiti left behind by morons. Every do not sign you've ever seen exists because someone already did it. Do not lick the electrical outlet. Why? Because some guy already thought, hey, maybe I should taste 120 volts. And now, instead of Darwin taking care of business, we get a permanent reminder stapled to society: no licking outlets. Folks, dangerous. Think about it. How many times have you seen a ridiculous rule and thought, who the hell needed this written down? Like a bottle of bleach that says, do not drink. Who the fuck is out there chugging bleach like it's a margarita? Apparently enough people that some lawyer said, better write that down or we'll lose the company. That's the birth of a rule right there. Somebody already screwed up. Somebody already died or sued or complained, and instead of fixing the problem, we just slap a sticker on it. It's the universal solution: put a rule on it, and now it's official. Problem solved, except it isn't, because the idiots keep multiplying. Take playgrounds. Remember when playgrounds were made of steel and concrete? You had monkey bars 10 feet in the air, spinning metal wheels that flung kids into orbit, and slides so hot in summer they branded your ass like cattle. Nobody cared. You fell. You broke your arm. You learned a valuable lesson: gravity is real, and it doesn't care about your feelings. Fast forward to now, and every playground looks like a padded room for toddlers, because one dumb kid stuck his tongue to the metal pole in January, and now the rule book says, do not place tongue on pole. No shit, Sherlock. The rule wasn't made for you. It was made because that one kid licked the pole. One moron ruins it for everybody, and the rest of us grow up in bubble wrap. And airports. Oh, Jesus, airports are the Olympics of unnecessary rules. Every single restriction at TSA was born because some jackass already tried it. No liquids over 3 ounces. You know why? Because some genius thought it'd be a good idea to make a bomb out of shampoo. Now I gotta throw out my perfectly good bottle of water at the security line because some lunatic couldn't just wash his hair like a normal human. Take off your shoes. Why? Because one guy put a firecracker in his sneakers. Now millions of travelers every day got a parade through a metal detector in their socks like we're all at some weird pajama party. Every rule at the airport is a reaction to one idiot. And you know what? The idiots don't even follow the rules. The rest of us do. That's the kicker. Rules aren't about prevention. They're about covering someone's ass after the fact. Something already went wrong, and instead of letting natural selection do its job, society steps in and says, wait a minute, we need to make sure the next idiot has instructions. That's why every lawnmower says, do not use to trim hedges, because some guy thought, why buy a hedge trimmer when I can just lift this lawnmower up? And now the rest of us have to live in a world where every product comes with an encyclopedia of obvious rules. Microwave instructions: do not dry your cat. Who the hell is microwaving cats? I'll tell you who, one moron in Ohio. And now the rest of humanity has to read it every time we make popcorn. And the thing is, rules don't stop stupidity. They just document it. You can slap 10 warning labels on a toaster, and some dumbass will still stick a fork in it. The rule isn't protecting him. It's protecting the company. The toaster survives. The idiot fries himself. But the company gets to say, well, we told him not to. That's what a rule really is, legal camouflage. It's not about safety, it's about liability. What covered our asses? Now you can't sue us. Look around any public space and you'll see the evidence. Don't climb the fountain. That's there because some drunk guy already went swimming in it. Don't feed the pigeons. Somebody already turned a park into a Hitchcock film. Don't tap the glass. Some kid already banged on the aquarium until the fish needed therapy. Every single sign is a story, and not a good story either. It's not a story about human progress. It's a story about human failure. Humanity's highlight reel of idiocy written in Helvetica bold. Even traffic laws, all of them, born from accidents. Nobody sat down and said, let's create a smooth, intelligent system for transportation. No, they said, oh crap, Bob ran a red light and killed 3 people. Better invent a stop sign. Every traffic rule is a patch. Stop signs, speed limits, seat belts. All answers to somebody already messing up. And yet, despite the rules, people still crash, still speed, still text while driving. You can cover the world in signs, and people will still be idiots. Because rules don't change human nature. They just document how bad it already was. And here's the real kicker, the stupider the people get, the dumber the rules get. Because once you make one rule, you've opened the floodgates. If you tell people, don't touch this, now you have to tell them, don't smell it, don't lick it, don't sit on it, don't marry it. You have to rule, proof every possible angle, because somewhere out there, there's a person willing to try it. That's why a packet of peanuts on a plane says, warning contains peanuts. No shit! What did you think was inside caviar? Somebody, somewhere, sued an airline because they didn't know peanuts contained peanuts. That lawsuit gave birth to a new rule. A rule born out of stupidity, raised by lawyers, and shoved down the throats of the rest of us who already had half, a brain. So every time you see a rule, just remember you're looking at a historical marker, a gravestone for common sense, a little plaque that says, here lies intelligence, killed by one man's stupidity. Most rules you see in this world don't actually exist for your benefit. They're not there to keep you safe. They're not there to help you live longer. They're not there because society cares about your well-being. No. They're there because some company out there wants to make sure when you inevitably screw something up, it doesn't cost them any money. That's the truth. Rules aren't about safety. They're about liability. Protecting their wallet, not your life. Think about it. You pick up a hairdryer, and what does it say right on the box? Do not use in shower. Now who do you think that's protecting? You. No, that's protecting Conair Incorporated. That's their way of saying, listen, if you decide to take this 120-volt death machine into the bathtub with you, don't come crying to us. We told you not to. They don't give a damn if you fry yourself like a piece of bacon. What they care about is your dumb cousin suing them for wrongful death. So the company adds the rule, stamps it in bold letters, and now they're safe. You're not safe. You're still dead. But the company's lawyers can high-five each other because their asses are covered. That's why every warning label in existence sounds like it was written for a chimpanzee with brain damage. Do not iron clothes while wearing them. You think that's for your safety? No. That's because somebody already called their lawyer after burning their nipples off trying to get rid of wrinkles. The company looked at the lawsuit, looked at the settlement, and said, well, we can't fix stupid, but we can write a rule. So now everybody on planet Earth has to live in a world where ironing instructions treat us like toddlers. Take cars. Oh, cars are loaded with these corporate rules disguised as safety features. You think the little sticker on the visor that says, always wear your seatbelt is about you. Hell no. It's so when you slam into a tree at 80 miles per hour, Ford Motor Company can point at the sticker and say, we told him. He didn't listen. Every recall notice, every manual warning, every beep and bloop in your car is a lawyer's wet dream. Cars aren't designed for safety. They're designed for lawsuits. That airbag isn't just to save your life. It's to save Honda from cutting $1 billion check to your family when your head goes through the windshield. And let's not forget food. Pick up a bag of peanuts on an airplane, and what does it say? Warning contains peanuts. Oh, thank you! Thank you, peanut people, for saving me from this dangerous, mysterious nut. No, that's not about saving you. That's about making sure Delta Airlines doesn't get sued because one guy with an allergy didn't realize the peanuts in his hand were, in fact, peanuts. Everything in the food industry is about corporate ass covering. Caution, coffee is hot. No kidding! Coffee is supposed to be hot. But one lady spilled McDonald's coffee on her lap in the 90s, And suddenly every cup of coffee in America comes with a warning label. They didn't make coffee safer. They just made lawyers richer. Rules aren't built for protection. They're built for plausible deniability. Companies want to be able to say, well, it's not our fault. The rule was right there. They're not looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves. You're just collateral damage. Look at credit card companies. You think all those rules and terms they bury you in are about helping you understand finances. No. It's about making sure when they rob you blind with interest rates that would make a loan shark blush, they can say, well, it's all in the fine print. That's a rule. All right, not to protect you, but to protect them from you and the workplace. Oh man, the workplace is a graveyard of corporate rules. Every single office on earth has a giant binder full of them. Don't steal office supplies. Don't look at your coworker too long. Don't use the printer for personal stuff. Don't breathe too loud near HR. Every single rule, and there isn't to make you comfortable, is to make sure the company doesn't get sued. The harassment policies, that's not about your dignity. That's about keeping the company off the evening news. The safety regulations in the warehouse, that's not because they want you to go home with all 10 fingers. That's because missing fingers mean workers' comp, and workers' comp means money, and money means shareholders get cranky. Even the most noble rules you can think of are usually just corporate shields. Environmental rules. Oh, don't get me started. When a factory puts up a sign that says, do not drink this water, do you think they're trying to protect your health? No. They poisoned the river 20 years ago, and now the sign is just there so when you grow a third arm, they can say, well, we told you not to drink it. Safety data sheets, hazard labels, OSE posters, they're all less about preventing the disaster and more about surviving the lawsuit afterward. Look at airlines again. Ever listen to that pre-flight safety announcement? You think it's there to save your life? No. If the plane crashes, you're toast. No little seatbelt or oxygen mask is going to fix a nose, dive from 30,000 feet. That speech is there so the airline can say in court, we told them what to do. They don't give a damn about your survival. They just don't want a jury saying they didn't warn you before you became barbecue in a cornfield. And you know who makes the most money off these rules? Lawyers. Whole industries are built on the art of writing rules that don't help anybody but protect the corporation. Every time you buy a product, there's a 20-page booklet inside filled with rules nobody reads. Caution small parts, choking hazard. You don't say, do not put plastic bag over your head. Really? But they don't write it for you. They write it so when you inevitably ignore it, the company is untouchable. That's what all those end user license agreements are too. You know, the ones nobody reads and everybody clicks. I agree. Yeah, those are rules. Rules designed not to make you safer, not to help you, but to lock you into a digital prison while Silicon Valley makes billions. Even the government's in on it. Government rules, you think they're protecting you. They're protecting corporations. Lobbyists write the damn rules. That's why a toy company can put lead paint on a baby's rattle for 20 years before anyone notices. The rules aren't written for your kid's health. They're written to protect the toy company's bottom line until enough kids start glowing in the dark. Then they update the rule not to fix the problem, but to make sure no one else can sue. You ever notice how rules are never proactive? They never get ahead of the problem. They wait until the disaster happens, then scribble something down to cover it up. No company in the world has ever said, hey, let's make sure people don't get hurt before it happens. No. They wait until someone's dead or burned or poisoned, and then they say, okay, new rule, don't do that. And even then, the rule isn't for the people. It's for the lawyers, for the shareholders, for the insurance companies. You're just the guinea pig. That's the sick joke about rules. They parade them around like they're for your safety. We care about your protection. We care about your well-being. No, they don't. They care about not losing money. You're not a human being to them. You're a potential liability. And every rule in existence is just a brick in the giant wall they build to protect themselves from you. And the best part, you pay for it. You buy the product. You follow the rules. You obey the system. And in the end, you're not protected. They are. The workplace loves rules. They love them. They've got more rules than a goddamn prison. In fact, I'd argue that most jobs are prison. Only difference is in prison you get free meals and a guaranteed bed, and at work you get stale donuts in the break room and a boss who smells like stress and Axe body spray. Corporate rules are nothing but prison guidelines dressed up in a polo shirt. They're not there to make you productive. They're there to keep you obedient. You don't work for a company, you serve time in one. Think about it. You clock in at 9 a.m., that's roll call. You clock out at 5 p.m., that's parole. And in between, you've got guards, managers, watching your every move. And just like prison guards, managers have their own set of rules to make sure you don't get too comfortable. No personal phone calls, no personal internet browsing, no eating at your desk, no headphones. You know what that is. That's the corporate version of lights out. No talking after midnight. The employee handbook is your inmate rule book. Pages and pages of commands, half of which make no sense. Dress code business casual. What the hell does that even mean? Business casual is just corporate code for we don't trust you to dress like an adult. That's why they spell it out like you're a child. No ripped jeans, no flip-flops, no tank tops. Hey, guess what? Nobody was going to come into the office naked with roller skates and nipple rings, but they write it down anyway. Why? Because rules aren't about practicality, they're about control. And don't even get me started on the bathroom rules. In prison, you've got to ask a guard before you use the toilet. In the office, it's the same thing, only instead of a guard, you've got Karen from HR giving you the side. Every time you take a bathroom break that lasts longer than 3 minutes. Is everything okay in there? Yeah, Karen! Everything's fine. I'm just trying to take a dump in peace without my company docking me for lost productivity. In prison, they count your flushes. In the office, they count your minutes away from the desk. Breaks. Oh, breaks are the biggest joke of all. You get 15 minutes in the morning, an hour for lunch, 15 minutes in the afternoon. That's not a break, that's a ration. They ration your freedom like they're handing out cigarettes in the yard. Here you go, enjoy your little slice of liberty, but don't enjoy it too much or we'll write you up. In prison, at least you get yard time to stretch your legs. At work, you get a cubicle the size of a coffin and a sad little plant to remind you what sunlight used to feel like and the rules about time. Holy shit, time is sacred in the workplace. You show up 1 minute late, you're in trouble. You leave 1 minute early, you're in trouble. But when they make you stay late for some bullshit emergency meeting that could have been an email, suddenly time doesn't matter anymore. Isn't that funny? Your time only matters when they can punish you for it. Their time is sacred. Your time is expendable. Workplace rules are all about obedience. They don't want you thinking for yourself. That's dangerous. Thinking leads to questioning, and questioning leads to revolution. And revolution leads to someone lighting the copier on fire. So instead, they load you up with dumb little rules to keep your brain occupied. No food at your desk. No drinks near your computer. No decorating your cubicle with offensive materials. Offensive materials. What the hell does that mean? Who decides what's offensive? I can't put up a poster of a bikini model because Todd from accounting finds it problematic. But Todd can hang up pictures of his 3 ugly kids and nobody bats an eye. If anything, that's more offensive. And meetings. Meetings are just parole hearings in disguise. Everyone sits around a table pretending to be civilized while the boss reminds you of the rules. Remember, no tardiness, no missed deadlines, no gossiping in the break room. It's not a meeting, it's a sermon. They call it team building, but it feels more like indoctrination. You don't leave a meeting with motivation, you leave with brain damage. The dress code, the punctuality, the break rules, the endless handbook nonsense. All of it is designed to strip you of individuality. In prison, they take your name and give you a number. In the workplace, they take your personality and give you a title. You're not John anymore, you're associate level 2. You're not Sarah, you're customer service specialist. Your individuality is irrelevant. What matters is your role in the system, just like prison. And let's talk about surveillance. Inmates are watched 24/7, cameras, guards, patrols. At work, it's keystroke trackers, badge swipe, security cameras, even software that takes screenshots of your computer every 5 minutes to make sure you're not playing solitaire. Hell, some companies even monitor your bathroom breaks with RFID chips in your ID card. You're not an employee, you're a lab rat with a tracking collar. Even the language of work is prison language. Disciplinary action, probationary period, mandatory training. Sounds like parole hearings and sentencing to me. You don't get promoted, you get released to the next level of incarceration. They don't fire you, they terminate your employment. Terminate. Jesus, that sounds like something the mafia does. Or the warden when you piss him off. And let's not forget the cafeteria. The corporate cafeteria is the prison show hall with better lighting. You line up, grab a tray, pick from whatever slop they're serving that day, and hope the coffee doesn't taste like motor oil. And just like prison, the food isn't there to nourish you. It's there to keep you just alive enough to keep working. They don't want you too full. They don't want you too weak. Just the right balance of fuel so you can keep tapping that keyboard like a good little inmate. Workplace rules even extend into your private life. Code of conduct. You ever hear that phrase? That's corporate for we'll own your ass 24/7. If you do something stupid on the weekend and it makes the company look bad, guess what? You're fired. You think prisoners get that kind of treatment? At least when a prisoner goes home on parole, he can pick his nose in peace without worrying about how it affects his parole officer's quarterly earnings. You, on the other hand, can't post a funny meme on Facebook without HR breathing down your neck about company image. And then they have the nerve, the unmitigated gall, to call you part of the company family. Oh, shut the hell up. You're not family. Families don't write you up for being late. Families don't dock your pay if you're sick. Families don't monitor your internet usage to make sure you're not Googling better jobs. You know who does that? Wardens, prison wardens. The company isn't your family. The company is your warden. And the rules are the bars on your cell. That's what the modern workplace is. A corporate prison where the only difference is you don't get free room and board. You pay for your own housing, your own clothes, your own food, just so you can show up every day and live under the illusion of freedom while following a rule book thicker than the Bible. Everybody loves to talk about freedom. Politicians wave it around like it's a magic wand. Corporations plaster it on commercials. Freedom of choice, freedom to be yourself. You hear it everywhere, land of the free, home of the brave. But here's the dirty little secret. Your freedom is conditional. You're free right up until the moment you do something somebody doesn't like, and then suddenly you're not so free anymore. The second you step outside the invisible box, bam, there's a rule waiting for you. It's like being a kid in a candy store. Look, Timmy, you're free to pick anything you want. And then your mom smacks your hand and says, not that too expensive, not that too much sugar, not that it'll rot your teeth. Suddenly your freedom isn't really freedom. It's a curated list of approved options. That's how society works. They dangle freedom in front of you like a carrot on a stick, and the second you reach for the carrot, they slap you with a rule. You're free to drive as long as you don't go too fast, don't go too slow, don't forget your seatbelt, don't have a headlight out, don't make a turn without signaling, don't park here, don't park there, don't have a beer before you drive, don't text, don't sneeze, don't blink at the wrong time. That's not freedom, that's a checklist. Your car has more rules than a nuclear reactor. One wrong move and you're not free. You're paying a ticket to the state. And if you keep screwing up, they take away your freedom to drive altogether. Freedom is conditional. You're free to speak your mind, right? Free speech, the crown jewel of democracy. Until, of course, you say something somebody doesn't like. Then you're canceled, fined, banned, blacklisted, or sued. You can say whatever you want, as long as it's on the approved list of things people are comfortable with. Once you wander off script, suddenly it's not free speech anymore. It's hate speech or offensive or inappropriate for the workplace. It's amazing how free speech is only free until it costs somebody money or reputation. Then suddenly you're gagged like a hostage. Even your job, they love to tell you, you're free to be yourself here. But the second you actually act like yourself, HR is sliding a handbook across the table saying, not that part of yourself, tone it down. A little less swearing, a little less honesty, a little more fake smiles. You're free to be yourself as long as yourself fits into their brand guidelines. Step outside the lines and you're out the door. And don't even start with taxes. You're free to earn as much money as you want. Sure, go ahead, make your millions. Just remember, Uncle Sam's got a big pair of scissors waiting to cut his slice the second you cash that check. You're free to earn, but you're not free to keep. You're free to work, but you're not free to stop paying. Try skipping your taxes 1 year. See how free you feel when the IRS comes knocking with handcuffs. You don't own your money. You rent it from the government. Even your body isn't fully free. They say, my body, my choice. Yeah, up to a point. Try walking down the street naked and see how far your freedom takes you. Suddenly you're indecent, obscene, disorderly conduct. You can cover your skin with tattoos, but don't show too many in the office. You can pierce whatever you want, but not if it scares the customers. Hell, in some places you can't even buy alcohol on Sunday because apparently your liver needs Jesus. Your body's not free. It's on loan with conditions. You're free to protest. They say freedom of assembly. Sounds great until you block traffic, then you're a public nuisance. Until you make too much noise, then you're disturbing the peace. until you make somebody important uncomfortable. Then you're inciting violence. You're free to protest, but only in the little fenced-off protest zone. They set up 3 miles away from the thing you're protesting. You're free to speak over there, where nobody can hear you. They love to put the word freedom in front of things to make you feel better about the leash around your neck. Freedom of choice, freedom of movement, freedom of expression. But every one of those freedoms has an asterisk. Choice, yeah, but only among the products already approved for sale. Movement, sure, but not without the right papers. Not past this border, not after this curfew. Expression, go ahead, express yourself. Just don't offend the sponsors, don't scare the investors, and don't make the shareholders nervous. Even religion, oh, they love to brag about religious freedom. Believe whatever you want. Pray however you like. Until, of course, your religion tells you to do something weird. Then suddenly it's no, not like that. You can worship a guy in the sky, no problem. But start sacrificing chickens in your backyard, and the neighbors are calling animal control. You're free to believe, but not free to practice. Unless your practice looks like everybody else's. You're free to vote too. That's the big one. The ultimate symbol of freedom. Until you realize the choices have already been narrowed down for you. You're not free to pick anybody you want. You're free to pick from the 2 candidates who were already handpicked by corporations and lobbyists. That's like walking into a restaurant and they say, order whatever you like. But the only 2 things on the menu are a shit sandwich and a turd salad. And if you say, I don't want either, they call you unpatriotic. Freedom, baby. And freedom isn't just conditional. It's revocable. You can lose it in an instant. One wrong move, one bad decision, one step out of line, and boom, freedom's gone. You're free until the cop doesn't like your attitude. You're free until your landlord raises the rent. You're free until your boss decides you're not a culture fit. You're free until the bank says, sorry, we're foreclosing. And then you realize your freedom was never real. It was a rental, a subscription service. Terms and conditions apply. You know who has the most freedom? Kids. Little kids. They run around naked, screaming, eating dirt, drawing on the walls, living like savages. That's freedom. But then we spend the next 18 years training it out of them. Rules for school, rules at home, rules for sports, rules for the internet. And by the time they're adults, they're so conditioned to follow rules, they don't even notice the leash anymore. They call it maturity. I call it domestication. We raise kids like we raise pets, train them with rules until they sit, stay, and roll over on command. Conditional freedom is the biggest scam ever sold. They don't give you real freedom because real freedom is dangerous. Real freedom means people do crazy shit. Real freedom means chaos, unpredictability, risk. And nobody in charge wants that. They want order. They want compliance. They want you thinking you're free while staying in your little box. That's why every freedom you're given comes with a list of exceptions. Freedom is the bait. Rules are the hook. And once you bite, you're caught.